When I first started uploading videos to YouTube, I assumed the hardest part would be making good content. But honestly, that hasn't been the most psychologically difficult part at all. The hardest part has actually been uploading videos that barely get shown to anyone. Because once a video gets almost no impressions, your brain starts creating explanations constantly. At first, I thought maybe my thumbnails were terrible. Then I thought maybe my titles were weak, my retention was bad, or my content simply wasn't interesting enough yet. But after uploading consistently for a while, I started noticing something strange. Some videos would suddenly get tested by YouTube while others barely moved at all. That inconsistency became incredibly frustrating because it made the platform feel almost random. One upload would get browse traffic, another would completely stall, and another would randomly wake up a day later. Eventually, I realized something important though. YouTube probably isn't evaluating small channels the way most creators think it is. I think when channels are tiny, YouTube simply has very little confidence about who the audience actually is yet. And that changes everything psychologically. Because creators usually assume low impressions means the platform has rejected their content completely. But that's probably not always what's happening. Sometimes YouTube might just genuinely have no idea who to test the video on first, especially when the channel itself still has weak audience signals overall. That uncertainty becomes emotionally exhausting really quickly though, especially because every upload suddenly feels incredibly important when the channel is still microscopic. You start refreshing YouTube Studio, constantly looking for signs of life. Tiny impression increases suddenly feel meaningful, while flatlined graphs feel emotionally crushing. The strange thing is that once you become emotionally attached to impressions, YouTube analytics start controlling your mood almost completely throughout the day. I didn't expect that part at all before starting seriously. I thought the difficult part would just be editing, scripting, and learning technical creator skills over time. But honestly, the emotional side has been far harder so far, especially uploading into silence repeatedly while still trying to stay motivated creatively. One thing I noticed during this process is how quickly small creators start overcomplicating analytics. We treat tiny sample sizes like they're massive conclusions somehow. 3 impressions suddenly feels catastrophic. 10 impressions feels exciting. 20 impressions feels like momentum, even though those numbers are objectively tiny. But psychologically, when your channel is small, every number feels amplified massively because you have almost no data overall yet. That's why small creator YouTube becomes emotionally addictive surprisingly fast. Every graph movement feels personal because the scale is still so microscopic. Eventually, I realized I'd become obsessed with trying to solve YouTube instead of actually building a recognizable content identity first. That was a huge mindset shift for me, because I started noticing my videos felt more emotionally compelling when I stopped trying to sound like a YouTube strategist. Earlier uploads were too focused on optimization language, analytics language, and technical creator advice. They sounded more like tutorials than stories. But the videos that started feeling stronger emotionally were the ones focused on the actual creator experience itself. Confusion, frustration, obsession, uncertainty, and trying to grow from nothing. Because honestly, that's the part most small creators emotionally connect with immediately. Not complicated strategy discussions or algorithm theories. Most people clicking these videos aren't searching for advanced analytics explanations. They're searching because they feel invisible, discouraged, and emotionally confused. That's probably why emotional framing matters so much more than creators initially realize. Especially in the growth-related content where everyone is competing for attention already. I also think small creators underestimate how long YouTube takes to build audience confidence around a channel overall. We expect immediate clarity from the algorithm. But from YouTube's perspective, a tiny new channel is basically incomplete information. The platform still doesn't know exactly who watches consistently, who clicks consistently, or who returns consistently. That means early testing probably looks messy naturally. Small batches, pauses, retests, random spikes, and unpredictable recommendation behavior overall. Unfortunately though, humans hate randomness emotionally. Especially when effort is involved, we want immediate proof that progress is happening logically. That's why creators spiral so easily during the early stages. Because when results feel inconsistent, your brain starts creating emotional explanations automatically. Maybe the content sucks. Maybe the niche is impossible. Maybe YouTube buried the channel. Maybe everyone else understands something you don't yet. I've genuinely thought all of those things already at different points during this process, especially during long periods where uploads felt almost completely ignored. But honestly, I think the healthier way to view this stage is probably as audience discovery instead of audience rejection. That mindset changes things psychologically. Because instead of assuming the platform hates the content, you start recognizing the channel is still building identity slowly. And identity matters massively on YouTube, especially because viewers don't just subscribe to information anymore. They subscribe to emotional familiarity. That's why I think creator documentary-style content feels stronger for this channel now than pure advice content ever did. The emotional throughline is clearer. Now, the channel feels less like random uploads about YouTube and more like documenting the psychological experience of trying to grow publicly from zero. And honestly, that feels much more sustainable creatively long-term too. Because there's an actual human story running underneath the analytics now. Right now, I still have no idea where this channel eventually goes. Maybe it grows slowly, maybe it suddenly breaks out later, or maybe it completely fails eventually. But I do know this. Uploading videos into near silence has already taught me more about creator psychology than any YouTube tutorial ever did. Because until you personally experience the uncertainty of building from zero, it's almost impossible to understand how emotionally strange this platform actually feels.